It goes without saying that for me, when the offer came, it was quite logical. My heart talked. Obviously the connection I have with one club in London, but this is where I started. This club always and will always have a big place in my heart. That goes without saying. So to be able to come here and start here again, it's a dream come true.
So Thierry Henry today admitted it was something of an emotional pull for him to go to Monaco. But was it a logical choice for you, Craig?
Yeah, it did make sense. It's where he started his career. I think it's a really good decision. Look, Monaco's not the worst part of the world to live in as well.
That's fair.
I think he'd be quite happy with that. But I like the idea of where he started his career and then going in then as a manager. And I actually like the position he had in the league as well. Look, it's a club that won the French League 2 years ago. The owner they have as well does spend money, but he will sell them on then for more. He's used it as a good business, and they've brought through some very exciting, very, very good footballers. Mbappe was just these players don't grow on trees; they're one-off.
No,
but spending a lot of time with him in his coaching back in Wales. I seen him because I'd done my pro license a year before him, so I was still going in.
What did you see? Give us an insight of what he's like on the train. What sort of coach?
Well, even in spending time with him with the TV as I have as well. The conversation, he just loves football. Mm-hmm. And, even as we're talking, you just get a sense of, even if we're watching Man City, we're talking about Pep. And it was great getting an insight from him because he's worked with him. And he would tell me, like, loads of different areas of how he would look to play it this way or what he'd do analysis-wise to the opposition, always looking for their weakest point, how he improved him as a player. Because when... we always seen him as a striker, but then he went to the left. But how disciplined he had to be to play in his team. Otherwise, he thought he'd come in having a good game, but no, he'd done everything wrong because then he'd show him. So he talked about learning the game. You could see he was learning a different part of the game from a different coach at an incredible football club. But watching him on the training pitch, his body language was very, very good. His information, and body language is key as well. When you're coaching, players look at you. And if I was there with my hands in my pockets and then shaking my head at certain things, players draw off that. And he was working with a young age group, and actually, listen, because he's Thierry Henry, they're going to run a mile for him anyway, straight away. But actually, the excitement and actually his level of information of giving them clear information they could take on board was very, very good. Because I've seen a lot of ex-players come into coaching, and especially on the badges, but given the information. We can all have ideas racing ahead, and we do. Yeah. But putting it then verbally so they can understand, a lot of ex-players find that difficult. And also the planning, preparation, making sure when I'm putting on a training session, I'm out there a good hour before it, making sure needs to be there, that needs to be. And I like that part of him. I see he wasn't just relying on everyone else. He was there making sure the distance is right, going through the session, what he wanted to see in his head. So straight away I was like taken back.
Impressed.
Because if I'm being honest, I just see so many ex-players were lazy. I see it so often, and then they demand a job or they expect to be going. They haven't earned the right, and they won't last 2 seconds. I never felt for one instance I was going to get. He gave me that impression. So I believe he's going to be a very, very good coach now.
Do you think it only adds to the interest or the intrigue around him, Steve, the fact that he's openly said, his influences, fairly obviously, are Arsene Wenger and Pep Guardiola?
Yeah, they're not two bad ones, them. And I think, straight away when he goes into the club, he's a huge name in football, world-renowned. The players, when they've found out that, I bet straight away they'll have getting a massive buzz. When you've got a manager come in, things hasn't gone quite right, and all of a sudden the manager comes in, that feel-good factor more or less comes straight away. Craig had mentioned there, kids will run a mile from because it's Thierry Henry. These players, I think, will do exactly the same. And I think with him coming in, the name, but obviously I think with him working with Guardiola, with him working with Wenger, the ideas that he'll bring in, fresh, new ideas, these players will be absolutely loving it. And I think the dressing room, when the lads will be getting ready for training, that'll be a completely different dressing room now. Where they are in the league, again, as Craig had mentioned, I'd be amazed if they don't start just going bang, 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 up the league, and getting wins, because that'll breed confidence. The lads will feel as though they've got a freedom to be able to play, a freedom to express themselves, and I think the team will go from strength to strength. And I think, you know, it's a fantastic match, them two.
I'm not sat too well at the moment, Matt, but are you the same as Steve? Wouldn't bother you in the slightest, that league position?
No, not at all. If anything, you can look at it as a positive. You know, he's got a very, you know, healthy young squad, fully ready to take on his ideas and his philosophy. And for a young coach starting out, you can't ask for a much better platform than that. You know, they're of a good standard. The one issue, I mean, he was a player that he just oozed confidence and arrogance at times, didn't he? The way he played and the way he carried himself. It was one of the star qualities that he had. And it's going to be interesting to see that transfer as a coach, because I think it's a harder thing when you've got to transmit it to a group of people as well. And I think you've seen him like adapt in that way a little bit about how he is, how he looks to have very good skills around people and very welcoming and warm the way he is. People feel comfortable around him. And, you know, especially for young players, with how good a player he was, it's going to be key that he can get that link with them and they can feel comfortable to approach him.
And with the young players at Monaco as well, because he was one.
Yes.
He came for our system, so straight away, that's a great way to start. Look, Monaco, you know, is a good club. They've just sold too many players over the last 2 years. All their best players have gone because they've gone for a lot of money. So they're getting it going again. This year, they ain't going to get back into the Champions League spots, but they ain't going to be relegated.
But Michael Emenalo has just gone there, hasn't he, from Chelsea as well? So Thierry Henry would have had those conversations with him. Interestingly as well, he's taken Kwame Ampadu from Arsenal as well, coach who he knows well, and the way that he works too. So, again, from what we know of Thierry from working with him, he would have thought deeply about all of this.
You have to. Because, look, by the time when he finished Telly last season, he was planning for management. This was his, this year he was going to take that step. We all knew that. So during that phase, that's when you're looking, well, even do I plan on becoming a first-team manager anytime soon? I don't. But I'm planning for it now. Who would I bring in? Who would I like as a number two? Who would I like as a physio? So you're always, just in case...
Planning ahead.
Just in case...
You would have to sound these people out as well, because you could just kind of, just make sure, as I said, when you do your coaching badges, and you all know, well, look, if this happens, best case scenario, if I do get offered a job, you will speak to people who you know that you can trust and who you know is going to be a great part of your team. So you will speak to those individuals well before something might happen, because at least then you can turn around. If you do get a job, be like, right, are you ready to come? And it's not as though it's been dropped on the toes. They've been made aware of this for a long time.
As well, like Ampadu as well. We know he worked at Arsenal. There's number two now he was on the same pro licence with him in the Welsh FA. So he's been around these people as well and got their ideas. Not just in a football sense or people he's played with or who are friends. It looks like he's picked the best people who are right for him, and that's what you have to do. It's so key.
We don't know how close it came to Villa offering him the job, but how different a challenge is Monaco from Aston Villa?
Yes, extremely different in terms of where the club's at, what type of player they have there, what the league is like. There's some pretty sizable differences for me.
Would Villa have been a tougher gig?
Well, you've got a team that's it's a big club that's in the Championship, so it's an extremely difficult league to get a team out of. And not saying that you need to have experience of being in the Championship. Obviously, he never has. But I just think having a knowledge of what type of Championship players are going to get you promoted and to bring them into the club to get a team promoted is actually, you've got to have a little bit of that insider knowledge to a degree, or have somebody with you that can help you with that, as we were saying about your staff and who you surround yourself with. So,
but then let's say different then with Nunes with Wolverhampton. Come Portugal, no experience in the Championship, and then brought in loads of players who didn't play in the Championship.
No.
But
they're really high-level players.
I was going to say the players he did bring in at Wolves were
really high-level.
Were Champions League players.
Yeah, absolutely.
So different. But I understand that. But with I believe anyone outside looking, you know, if you were looking for a role in a championship, Villa would be the team. Villa would be that team. I believe they have the best squad in the championship. That'd be the one. It would have been. I think it would have been very interesting if you'd have took that.